Good evening. Good evening. Sahars Kumar,
Yes, sir.
you come from?
So I'm from Kolkata.
Okay. Would you like to give an introduction?
Yes, sir. Sir, my name is Sahars Kumar. I was born and brought up in Kolkata. I did most of my schooling from there, from Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya in Narendrapur. After that, I did my B.Tech from IIT Kanpur in the Department of Biological Sciences and Bioengineering. After that, I worked at 2 years at Ola Cabs, and then I did my MBA from IIM Calcutta. After that, after my graduation in 2020, I started preparing for the civil services examination, and I have been preparing since then full time. I'm fond of traveling, sir, and I'm also fond of watching movies, especially movies which are based on comic books.
Okay. This appears to be an uncommon name. So what does it mean, Sahars?
So, Saharsh means with happiness. Saharsh.
What gives you happiness, Sahars?
Sir, I do try to find happiness in various things in life, sir. However, sir, one of the things that comes to mind is, sir, contentment and happiness is at the end of a very tiring day, going back to home and staying with family. That is one of the major things that gives me happiness, sir.
Anything apart from family?
So, another thing that gives me happiness is uh, being able to um, after a long and after a very tiring journey, being able to achieve and being able to get whatever path I had set on, those achievements, being able to achieve those goals, those provide me a lot of happiness as well.
You said that even if it's a day or a journey, it has to be tiring, it appears from your answer. It has to be tiring. So are you doing a lot of things which makes you tired every day, or is it hectic?
So, tiring is not exactly hectic, sir. What I wanted to point out is something challenging, sir. Whatever journey I'm setting on, it must be challenging. And at the end of those challenges, if I'm able to succeed, that does provide me happiness, sir.
Okay, tell me the population of the top 5 districts of Bengal in that order.
So, the most populated district is Kolkata, sir. So, I'm not sure of the rest, sir.
Can,
The order.
can you name at least 7-8 districts of Bengal?
Yes, sir. So, Kolkata, Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Cooch Behar, Purbo Mednipur, that is East Mednipur and West Mednipur, East Bardhaman, West Bardhaman, Jhargram.
Okay, these are the ones.
Right.
Mednipur has an important role in Indian history. Anything significant you remember, you can recall about Mednipur?
So one thing comes to mind which I had read about as part of my modern history chapters. So Khudiram Bose, one of our freedom fighters, was born in Mednipur, sir.
Okay. Recently, we see that a debate is going on about the collegium system. So, what do you think about it? Like, is that a good way of selecting or nominating or appointing judges?
So there has been a recent debate about the collegium system and the kind of opaqueness it includes, where there is no role or a very limited role of the executive, and mostly the judiciary is responsible for the appointment of judges. However, sir, ma'am, I would like to point out that I personally don't feel that the collegium system does justice to the idea of having checks and balances in a democracy, and gives a lot of it provides a lot of importance or the impetus on the judiciary. And sir, rather a system of checks and balances, rather a collegium which involves both members of the judiciary and the executive, or different neutral members, would definitely be a better idea than the collegium system.
Can you explain me in simple words, as per constitution, what is the definition or mode of appointment? What is collegium system?
So, as per the constitution, it has written that the
Which
appointment
article
of
in constitution?
um, Sir, I am not sure which article in the constitution, sir. So, as per the constitution, it is written that the appointment of judges would be in consultation with the executive, where according to the three judges case, in the second judge's case, the judiciary had mentioned that consultation here means concurrence, and that is why it gives greater responsibility or greater onus on the judiciary and to appoint and that is why the names that are recommended from the judiciary to the executive, generally the executive is forced to appoint those particular individuals as Supreme Court judges.
Or how many members are required to make a collegium?
So the collegium comprises of 5 members. Among them, one should be the Chief Justice of India, and the other 4 would be senior most judges of the Supreme Court.
Do you think judiciary can apply the logic of judicial review also on collegium? Where collegium stands in context of judicial review?
Sir, I don't think there is a process in place regarding judicial review of the collegium. However, sir, any process or any legislation that aims to change the system of appointment of judges, like the 99 Constitutional Amendment Act 2014, the idea of the National Judicial Appointment Committee, that was definitely under the judicial review, and that was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court.
Okay. I can see that you have taken political science as an optional subject. What was your subject in graduation?
So I graduated from the subject biological sciences and bioengineering.
Any particular reason why you have shifted from biological science to political science?
Sir, I did, when I was deciding my optional, I did take a look and decided that I should go with biological science, biotechnology or management, which had already also done an MBA. And sir, I went through the papers, and sir, I wanted to keep an open mind, and I also went through the different papers of other subjects as well. And sir, while I was studying, and I realized that I have developed a sort of an interest in international relations, and political science provided me an opportunity to look at those aspects as well, sir. At the same time, sir, I realized that political science and international relations does have some sort of overlap with the rest of the syllabus as well, and that was the nail in the coffin and helped me to make the decision.
You're saying that there was overlap, then I'm interested to know how both are related. If I ask you to suggest me or tell me 3 ways how biological science and political science are related.
So can I take a moment, sir?
Yes.
I can think of a few ways that biotechnology and political science can be related, sir. Firstly, the COVID pandemic which happened, where it required a more cooperative approach by different governments around the world and to resolve the crisis. So that is one aspect, sir. Secondly, regarding vaccines as well, regarding COVID vaccines or any other vaccine regarding any pandemic or an epidemic, there is definitely a consultative process, and it involves different multilateral bodies as well, such as the World Trade Organization. Thirdly, regarding research and development, there in the field of biotechnology, there is the element of brain drain involved, and that is why there are elements of social security of Indian scientists or Indian workers that are moving abroad, all of that. So those are some areas where there is some sort of an overlap between biotechnology and political science.
What differentiates a science from a non-science subject? How you derive whether a subject is a scientific subject or not? And then why political science is a science?
Sir, the basic distinction between a science subject and a non-science subject is the idea of logical derivation and logical thinking, analytics that is involved in scientific subjects, and that is why political science is also considered as a science. It is not one of the natural sciences where there are calculations involved, but it is considered a science because there is logical interpretation of different ideas, and that is why political science is also a science.
I can see that your father was also working with government and he is retired now.
Yes, sir.
So from where he's getting the money? He's still earning income?
So he is getting his pension fund, sir.
So do you think pension should be counted as income?
Yes, sir.
Current income? Or something which pertains to past service? Should it be taken as today's income when no economic activity is involved?
Sir, it should be taken as today's income, sir. Even when there is no economic activity involved.
There is no contribution to nation's
Yes, sir.
GDP.
Yes, sir.
So do we take pension also in our GDP?
we do not, pension we take pension in terms of in our GDP calculation as well, sir, because the pension amount is used as uh, as an expense when that is used to buy certain goods.
Then no, that is another way of calculating GDP.
Yes, sir.
When we do income method, we have to be very clear.
Yes, sir.
Expenditure method is different.
Right, sir.
When you're an IIM IIT graduate, you should know this.
Yes, sir.
So when income method we are taking, whether 6,50,000 will go to GDP or not, and whether that should be taken as an annual income or not, and then how a retired person is called retired. If he is retired, that means he's not anymore earning, he's not earning income anymore. But you are stating it as an annual income.
Yes, sir. Sir, I feel that even in the income method of GDP calculation, I believe that income pension is also calculated as an income, sir.
Okay, and I can see that you have mentioned your mother's income also.
Yes, sir.
And you have also mentioned that she's a housewife.
Yes, sir.
Is your father paying her for being a housewife as a progressive field?
No, sir. Unfortunately, that is not the case, sir. However, sir, my mother has a few investments made in her name, and that is a source of income, sir.
Then why are you calling your mom a housewife?
Sir, sir, I realize that this is a mistake on my part, and this is a mistake that I identified after submitting my form, and I should have made that correction earlier and marked her as an investor, and I request the panel to please forgive me.
Okay, and why you think that your father and mother both are of similar age?
Sir, about 5 to 7 years.
Some difference is there. So, do you think there should be a concept of retirement in housewife also, for housewife also?
Yes, sir. And ideally there should be. If we are considering an age of retirement for the male members of the family, there should definitely be an age of retirement for the female members of the family as well.
Do we have that in our society?
Unfortunately, sir, we do not have that in society.
Will you start practicing that in your family?
Sir, I would want nothing more, and I would really want to practice that and bring about that change in my family.
Okay. You have done your IIT from Kanpur?
Yes.
IIT Kanpur? Then you pursued your MBA program from?
IIM Calcutta, sir.
So I don't see any reason for you to come to civil services. You have been using a lot of government resource already. They are sponsored, they are funded.
Yes, sir.
By government.
Yes, sir.
You have used them.
Yes, sir.
So why are you not going with your knowledge, talent, whatever you have learned there, and doing something good in the other sector?
Sir, my father, who is a retired government servant, sir, he has been one of the major influences that helped me make the decision to pursue a career in the civil services, sir. And sir, I always had this dream. And sir, even when I was working at Ola, I wanted to give this a chance. But I decided that since I've developed certain aspects of certain technical aspects of the job, I wanted to work and develop certain managerial aspects of the job as well, which I believe were very important. And that is why I went ahead and did my MBA. And sir, after that, the pandemic happened when I graduated, and it provided me an opportunity. When all kinds of activity was ceased, it provided me an opportunity to work on this dream of mine. And so the more I read about, the more I studied, the more I read about the different challenges people around me are facing, the more I realized that I must develop the capacity, and this is where my calling lies, and the different challenges that lie in the job, they kind of inspired me to remain steadfast in my decision to prepare for the civil services. And so that is why I went ahead and I am preparing for the civil services. And sir, I don't think in terms of wasting government money, I don't think that the money that the government has spent on me in general, sir, it has been wasted. Rather, the money has been utilized to provide me a unique perspective, different set of resources, different set of skills, which I can put to good use in the civil services as well.
But I mean, if that's the case, you may end up saying after 3-4 years that I don't want to do civil services. Now I want to move on and do something else, because that's what I've been seeing here. If you did your IIT Kanpur, then you must have got a job. You must have been selected for a job. After that, you left it for IIM Calcutta. Now you are trying to go for civil services. A lot of engineers are coming for civil services these days, but they are not able to contribute in that way, because they are again inspired to go for building a startup, and they're quitting civil services. So So why are you taking away one seat of someone who badly needs it?
Sir, I agree that a lot of engineers are coming to the civil services and not all of them are continuing with the civil services, sir. However, sir, I feel that a large percentage of engineers are continuing with the civil services and a large percentage of them are heavily contributing to the society, to the economy and to the administration of the country, sir. And sir, I consider myself as one among that part which aims to give back to society, to contribute to the administration of the country and give back to the investment that has been made.
3 ways you have already contributed to society till date. Any 3 things in which you have already contributed.
Sir, can I take a moment, please? Sir, as part of my extracurriculars at IIT Kanpur, I got an opportunity which unfortunately I could not continue, but I got a little opportunity to sit down and with some underprivileged students of the nearby villages, and I took a few sessions where I taught them certain basic principles of mathematics. So that was one, sir. Secondly, sir, have been I have been a part of, or I have tried to give back to society in terms of donating blood. I've done that a couple of times, sir. And sir, thirdly, I feel that I had been, I have contributed to society as a taxpayer as well, sir.
Recently, we are seeing a lot of corporate frauds, a lot of revelations coming out in the market. So, can you suggest me few ways we can protect the investors in a better manner?
So, we have, I agree that we have seen recent upheavals in the market, ups and downs, and the Supreme Court has also highlighted that it is the middle class and the money of the middle class investors which is at the greatest risk. And so, something that can be pointed out is with the recent upsurge in investment by the middle class, there must be some sort of awareness generation among the middle class regarding the flaws in the investing in markets, or flaws or the limitations that come with blindly following certain recommendations given by individuals or by other organizations, and that could be one thing where the investor should be made aware of the trickiness and the risks involved in investing.
Which district in Uttar Pradesh is contributing, you think, to most in the development of Uttar Pradesh today?
So,
top 3 districts, if you can name.
Yes, sir. So the top 3 districts would be Noida, Lucknow, and Kanpur.
In which order? In this order only?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how many districts are there?
So there are 75 districts in Uttar Pradesh.
Do you think we need 75 districts today in Uttar Pradesh?
Sir, the number of districts in Uttar Pradesh has been kept at 75, such a large number, mostly, sir, because of the huge population in Uttar Pradesh, and that is why, for administrative reasons.
What is the population density there?
Sir, I'm not sure of the population density there, sir.
Okay.
However, sir, I can say that it has one of the highest population densities in India, sir.
Okay. And what was the total GDP last year?
So, of Uttar Pradesh, the total GDP was about $230 billion.
That comes to how much crores in crores? Do we do accounting? Uttar Pradesh government is doing accounting in dollars?
No, sir.
In rupees.
Yes,
so
sir.
What is the number in rupees?
So it is. I'm sorry, I cannot do that calculation.
$230 billion.
Yes, sir.
So $1 is 80, right?
Yes, sir.
roughly 80.
Yes.
1 billion is equal to how much?
So 1 billion 100 crores, sir.
100 crores into 80 will be how much?
800 crores.
100 crores into 80.
8,000 crores.
8,000 crores into 230.
230, sir.
So a multiple of that
Yes,
is the
yes.
answer, right? You should know about Uttar Pradesh properly because I can see that you plan to go to Uttar Pradesh.
Yes.
Despite coming from West Bengal, you have a clear interest for Uttar Pradesh. So how you differentiate Uttar Pradesh model of development from say development of Jammu and Kashmir?
So, till a long period of history, of course independence history, the development in Jammu and Kashmir has been mostly closed. It has been a closed loop where there has been very limited investment from outside, and Jammu and Kashmir has met with there were a lot of militancy activities and a lot of unrest. Similarly, sir, in Uttar Pradesh as well, there were a lot of there was a lot of unrest happening in Uttar Pradesh as well, and there were law and order issues in Uttar Pradesh as well, similar to Jammu and Kashmir. However, sir, Uttar Pradesh was never a closed system, rather it was an open system where it used to invite investment. And that has been a major difference between Uttar Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. And even after abolition of Article 370, the rules regarding outside external investment and the private sector hesitation regarding investment in Jammu and Kashmir is a major factor which has contributed to investment, whereas in Uttar Pradesh, we have seen how with the recent Global Investor Summit and different similar investor summits, there has been recurring investment by different major industry houses both in India and abroad. Thank you, sir.
So Sahars, your mother is a housewife.
Yes, ma'am.
There is a lot of negative opinions being generated on the term housewife. Instead, the term homemaker is being used.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think is the difference between housewife and homemaker?
Ma'am, the term housewife, it fails to entirely qualify the role of the mother, who is not just a housewife or not just responsible for preparing the meals or looking at the different activities that are happening inside the house or the upbringing of the children. Whether the term homemaker gives her a more elated status as somebody who is responsible for the entire make of the house, the entire make or break of the house. And that is the major difference between housewife and homemaker.
What prompted you to choose the term housewife instead of homemaker?
Ma'am, it was I wanted to use homemaker, ma'am, but I believe that it was a drop down where I had to choose.
You like watching movies as a hobby?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the current censorship issue which is going about Bollywood movies? Is it necessary or is it stifling creativity?
Ma'am, I feel that censorship, to some extent, considering the socio-cultural scenario in India, to some extent, censorship is necessary. However, we have to be very careful in drawing that certain extent, drawing that fine line between what is it meant to be censorship or stifling creativity, and where it should be, where we are allowing the creative minds of the country to showcase their creativity.
Who do you think has the authority to allow censorship or determine what is good for society or what can be censored?
Ma'am, in case of movies, it is the censorship board, the CF. Yeah, it is the censorship board, ma'am, which is responsible for. It is a panel with board, and they have their internal debates, and after the proper debate and discussion, they decide whether that certain element should be censored or not.
Can you tell me about Kolkata's contribution to cinema?
Ma'am, Kolkata's cinema is popularly known as Tollywood. And ma'am, Tollywood was one of the, or rather it was the oldest cinema industry in the country. And it was even before Bollywood started, and based out of Tollyganj area in Kolkata. And ma'am, we have seen different greats in cinematic history who've come from Bengal. Such as we have seen really great directors such as Satyajit Ray, Mridul Sen, Hrithik Ghatok, Ritwanda Ghosh, and we have seen many actors, actresses who have come forward and win national awards. We've seen Uttam Kumar from Kolkata, and we have also seen many people from the movie industry from Kolkata who, in the music industry as well, who've come out and have participated in the Bollywood industry as really great singers and playback singers as well.
Sarsh, you said that the difference between natural sciences and social science is logical derivations. So do you think that social sciences are not logical, or they are less predictable?
Ma'am, I feel that social sciences are they are called science in a way, and that is why, since they have earned that tag of science, I feel that they do have logic involved. For example, even subjects like geography are part of social sciences, but we've seen how different weather phenomenon are definitely derived of logic, and that is why I would not say that they are deprived of logic.
So what do you think is the crux of the difference between natural and social sciences?
Ma'am, I stand by with what I had said before, that it should be analytical and there should be elements of logic involved in sciences. However, if we differentiate natural sciences and social sciences, in case of natural sciences, there are elements of calculations which play a vital role, and rather in social sciences it is more analytical, and that's the major difference.
Okay. Sahash, you like traveling? You mentioned that as your hobby.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the difference between a traveler and a tourist?
Uh, Ma'am, in my opinion, and I feel that the difference between a traveler and a tourist is a tourist is mostly indulged in activities where the tourist seeks out different places which are more popular and which are on the top of the sightseeing list, and the tourist is more about visiting those places and uh, having the having the idea of a bucket list where the entire idea is only about visiting the places. Whereas I feel, ma'am, a traveler is more about the journey rather than the destination. The traveler tries to seek out the road less traveled, and look at the experience is what matters to a traveler rather than the destination.
How do you characterize yourself, as a tourist or a traveler?
I characterize myself as a traveler, ma'am.
So you have been to Delhi, Kanpur,
Yes,
and you stayed in Calcutta. Can you tell me certain unique features about Calcutta which was absent in these cities?
Um, Ma'am, there are certain elements in Calcutta which are absent. For example, ma'am, the tramways are one of the legacy heritages of Calcutta, which are very unique. Ma'am, Calcutta is the only city in the entire world where we have licensed rickshaw hand pullers. Ma'am, the Calcutta, there's this, in Calcutta, ma'am, also there's this idea of this gossip culture, the adda culture, which I witnessed more in Calcutta rather than in other cities. There's this idea where during afternoons, most of the shopkeepers they take a break and they indulge in this kind of an adda conversation, and this sort of camaraderie is something that is there in Calcutta, more seen in Calcutta than other cities.
Such the handful rickshaws. Don't you think it is derogatory to human rights?
Yes, ma'am, I agree that hand pull rickshaws to a large extent, it is definitely derogatory to human rights, ma'am.
So can Calcutta be proud of it as a part of its culture, or should it be done away with?
Ma'am, I feel that since it is derogatory to human rights, there should be some changes brought in the system. Ma'am, I don't think, since it's a part of the legacy of Calcutta, instead of totally doing away with it, we could bring about certain changes where there could be certain vehicles provided to these, certain rickshaws provided to these rickshaw pullers, where on the outside it looks like a rickshaw. However, there might be some sort of button where it could be motorized, or providing them the feel of an hand pull rickshaw, but rather it is motorized, and the rickshaw puller is no more a treated as a beast of burden. At the same time, ma'am, this can be more popularized in some of the more touristy places in Calcutta.
Okay. Saharsh, you said that one of the things that give you happiness is going home after a tiring day. So, from your answer, I understood that you believe in the hustle culture. But there is also a lot of debate going on about the hustle culture versus quiet quitting. What do you think of it?
Uh, Ma'am, can you? I didn't get the second part of the question.
There is a phenomena going on which is called the quiet quitting. Have you heard of it?
Ma'am, I'm not sure, but is it? I want to take a guess. Is it similar to something like voluntary retirement?
No. It is kind of like that, but not really.
I'm not sure. I've not heard the term, ma'am.
Okay, Sash, you have not been involved in any social work?
Ma'am, apart from the one that I mentioned, where I had taken a few classes of certain underprivileged students, and a few times that I had the opportunity to donate my blood, that is the extent of my participation in social work.
Saharsh, with respect to women, can you tell me your opinion whether women should be given reservation in civil services?
Ma'am, I don't think that at present, looking at the result of the past few years, I don't think that women are largely underrepresented in the terms of the results that are coming out. There is a fair balance between male and female students. At the same time, ma'am, keeping in consideration the different challenges that women face, such as their issues, the cases of marriages or childbearing, there must be some sort of age relaxation that must be provided to women in civil services. At the same time, ma'am, there could be certain other benefits such as free coaching provided to women who are preparing for the civil services or who have passed the first few stages. So those are some issues, something that I'm working on.
Recently in Assam, there has been a crackdown on child marriages, which has led to multiple issues. How do you think it should have been handled? And what are the current issues that are going on?
Ma'am, in Assam, the recent crackdown has largely been aimed at individuals who have committed, who have married minors in the past, as well as it has been aimed at catching those people who have promoted or rather supported the idea of child marriages. So, ma'am, I feel that to some extent, where the government is punishing those people who are involved in child marriages or who are supporting child marriages, that is that is definitely something that the government is doing right, because child marriages, as per the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, is definitely illegal. Um, at the same time, ma'am, the government should be cognizant of how it might lead to breaking up of families, or it might lead to undue pressure, or what effect it might have on the minors, on the women, or on the children of such wedlock. So while the government is correct in punishing those, the government must come up with a way to create some sort of consensus regarding child marriages prospectively as well. And the government should definitely target those supporters of child marriage who are engaged or supporting the idea. At the same time, ma'am, there have been certain issues regarding different personal laws, and the government must create or must ensure that different religion communities do adhere to the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act irrespective of age.
How would you tackle this situation as a civil servant?
Ma'am, to crack down on to restrain the issue of child marriages, ma'am, I would want to firstly I would want to develop a team or a task force that is specifically looking at through the information network is looking at the different child marriages that are happening around us and prospectively. Those are the first thing that we need to catch. At the same time, ma'am, I would want to catch those people who are involved, such as the priests and the parents or society, people in the society who are promoting child marriage or passing it off as something that must be done. Those are the first ones that that I would want to attack or capture or stop.
Okay. Since you want to be placed in UP, can you tell me the current 3 issues going on in that state?
Ma'am, there's a big issue in one of the biggest issues in UP is uh, regarding regarding cow vigilantism, which is to some extent it has not been in the news recently. However, ma'am, it has not been in the news because of this image of fear, this idea of fear that has been created in people who are um, uh, involved in this, and it has also affected the tannery industry of Kanpur. That is one big issue in UP. Secondly, ma'am, um, there have been many instances of rapes involved in the more backward areas or more rural areas in UP, even as much as recently, sir, such as the Unnao rape case or the Hathras rape case, ma'am, and that is something which is very alarming. And thirdly, ma'am, the huge population, the huge TFR, the total fertility rate in UP, that is another major concern, and that is something that needs to be addressed as well.
Last question, Saharsh. Can you tell me what is the similarity between Syria and Turkey and Delhi?
Ma'am, Syria, Turkey, and Delhi are all these areas are located on tectonically active zones and are thus centers where volcanic activity, where earthquake activity could happen in future and in the near future or in the distant future, and as we've seen recently in
Which seismic zone are they? Is Delhi located in?
Delhi is located in seismic zone 5.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Sahars.
Thank you.
So, our Honorable Prime Minister is saying that we are having conviction and not compulsion. That's why we are growing. So, what compulsion is there that West Bengal is not growing?
Sir, West Bengal has a really highly performing agriculture sector, where West Bengal has is one of the largest producers of rice, jute, and even second largest producer of milk, meat, eggs, fish, tea. And that is why agriculture sector is definitely performing. And sir, secondly, West Bengal has the second highest number of MSMEs in the country. However, sir, the growth that I believe that you are pointing at is industrial growth, and that is where West Bengal is lacking. And sir, this lack in industrial growth has been, if you look at history, we can see that all the governments, the successive governments that have ruled West Bengal, and even pre-independence, there has not been a lot of focus on industrial growth or capital-intensive growth in West Bengal. So that is one of the reasons why West Bengal has not been growing industrially.
But we all are growing after independence only. So, what is stopping West Bengal to grow when Gujarat can grow so much? What Gujarat is having, which is not there in West Bengal? Why are we not growing compared to other states?
Sir, in West Bengal, sir, there's the idea where the last 3 decades of rule by the leftist government, sir, it led to more focus on labor issues, and rather there was a sort of a suspicion, or there was a sort of hesitation towards inviting private sector investments, sir. And sir, even today, the incumbent government, sir, it has been the incumbent government, sir, and the incumbent government is also focusing more on providing public welfare and through different schemes, providing social justice, and instead there has been some sort of there's been low progress in the terms of providing capital intensive investment, or inviting private expenditure, or providing private investment.
Bioengineering, biological science, right? These appear to be good terms, good phrases, but then after pursuing that, we don't really see students, planning to do further course and gaining more knowledge in that direction. So, tell me 3 ways how you plan to use this in civil service, the knowledge which you have gained with specialization in bioengineering and biological science.
So, regarding biological sciences and bioengineering, so I feel that the COVID-19 pandemic recently, it can provide the best example, sir, where as a student of biotechnology, I am able to understand the kind of social changes or behavioral changes that needs to be brought in case of pandemic, and communicate that to the people as well. At the same time, sir, secondly, I am enabled, or I can understand better how viral transmission happens, and I can be better suited to dispel any rumors of vaccine hesitancy, sir. Thirdly, sir, I feel that as a student of biotechnology, I can understand different issues around us regarding environment, such as climate change, deforestation, or regarding something as high yielding varieties or genetically modified organisms, or genetically modified crops, and I can provide my experience, my information, my knowledge into this field as well, sir.
In the first form, I can't see your MBA degree, how it is mentioned in the second form. It was not allowed in the form.
It was not allowed in the first form.
Okay, so you have done your MBA in which stream?
Sir, IIMs do not provide a specialization in MBA. It's a general MBA that's given by the IIMs.
Okay, Saharsh, suppose you have joined civil service on the first day as an IPS officer. You're asked to report to a location where there's a riot between Hindu and Muslim section of society, and it's your first day and you've just completed your training, and already it has been informed to you that around 10 to 15 lives we have lost because of the intensity of the riot. and you have been asked to lead it, but there is also a message that minority and a particular section need not be, blamed much, as the media is also capturing it, and you are supposed to kind of favor them and ensure that they are not made to realize oppressed. So, how you will deal with the situation and how you will make your political uh, fathers or seniors happy?
So in this case, sir, um, so in this case, I would reach the place, and sir, I would firstly want to dispel the riots or dispel the crowd, sir. I want to focus the entire forces that I have been allotted to work on dispelling the crowd, sir. And sir, I would want to take into my confidence all the major stakeholders that are involved, all the major stakeholders on both sides, and I want to would want to provide them some sort of an assurance that I would be looking personally into this issue, and I would be.
How will stop the riot? It's intense. A riot is going on.
Yes,
What mode of what method you will use to control them? Why they listen to you? You're just a new officer.
So, so even as a new officer, sir, I feel that I could provide them some sort of. I would definitely go and reach out to the major stakeholders or the major instigators involved, and I feel that the instigators would be able to control their crowds.
How will you identify the instigators?
Sir, I would want to work with my team who have been part of the place, who have been located in this or posted in this area. I would even try, if possible, to reach out to the person who was in my position earlier, and if he or she might have some sort of a feedback, and then I would use all that information to identify the key instigators, and then I would reach out to them, and irrespective of
When violence is being used, you will also be attacked. How you will pacify them? How you will stop them? You will be attacked. Violence is being used. It's a ruckus, a riot out there. How you will stop it? Let's get to field. I need to understand how you plan to stop the riot before starting to talk. Talking with them and convincing them.
Sir, I would, sir, to stop the riot or to prevent any sort of any attack that is happening on or any bodily harm that I might be subject to, so I would use uh, uh, the force that has been allotted to me to create or rather separate the two sets of people or two communities that are instigated in the riots, and after separating them.
But how? How you will separate them?
So,
What mode of force you will use?
so it would be mostly something like riot shields or something that can be used in this case, where
If you're being fired at and thrones are being pelted at you,
yes, sir.
at a level that you also can get seriously
Yes,
harmed,
yes, sir.
and there are use of guns also, then what will you do?
So again, I feel that riot shields that are currently in use can be used to deter most of these attacks. And
You'll be facing a bullet with a riot shield.
so I feel that riot shields, I would definitely, sir, be wearing all those protective gear such as Kevlar vests or all of that, sir. And sir, I would not want to create any sort of situation where the entire crowd becomes very unruly and there might be trampling or stampede involved. And that is why I want
If
to.
it comes to a point that without use of force, you are not able to control them and bring to a position where you can start discussing.
Yes, sir.
You have never faced a riot.
Yes, sir.
So let me tell you, if you face a riot, it will be impossible to control it if you don't use force
Yes, sir.
to control a situation of violence. So I want to understand that how you will first of all create a sense of fear in their mind.
Yes, sir.
Just by protecting yourself, you will create a fear in their mind to stop the intensity of the riot.
So not just, sir, if I have to dispel the crowd, there might be other defensive mechanisms as well. Like sir, we can use different ammunition such as there could be smoke grenades or something that can be used to dispel the crowd or to control the crowd. This is something that can be done, and I feel, sir, those are some ways where we can really look at pacifying the crowd and ensuring that we do get a hold of the key instigators and then talk on the issues.
And then how you proceed after that?
So after getting a hold of the key instigators, I would want to, irrespective of whatever political pressure that has been on me, my mandate should be to the constitution and the law of the land, and that is why I would want to identify after such discussions what is the key issue here, and I would want to catch the people who are actually involved in the unruly behavior or who broke the law, and then I would want to make the necessary arrests.
But you will have immense pressure from your seniors.
Yes, sir.
To behave in a certain way.
Yes, sir.
Will you go against your service to do that and your prospects in the first day of the service?
Sir, sir, I feel that as a civil servant, sir, my prime duty is to the constitution and it is to the law of the land. And in any case of
Constitution
any,
only has given a structure for executive.
yes, sir.
Where there is a hierarchy.
Yes, sir.
So by disrespecting the hierarchy, are you not disrespecting the constitution?
So, however, sir, the constitution also talks about right to life and liberty, one of the fundamental rights.
With such less experience
Yes, sir.
on the field,
Yes, sir.
maybe your seniors are right to behave in a certain way.
So I would want to, again, sir, listen to my judgment and even talk to some of the seniors if I get hold of any neutral people who might be involved with the situation. And I would want to listen to everybody and get their feedback. And then I would want to, I would like to perform my duties to the best of my abilities according to the decision which I feel, which I believe are right in that particular environment, sir.
What do you understand by the term institutional memory?
Sir, I'm not sure, sir.
If I say institutional memory says that you have to behave in a certain way because of the practices being followed by the prior, officers, understanding the local climate, the political climate, the challenges, don't you think you should go ahead with that? Follow the institutional memory and the learnings of your seniors, your colleagues, rather than just abiding by the constitution?
Sir, I would definitely want to take, like I said, sir, I would want to take the institutional memory into consideration, the advice and the ideas that I have received from my seniors and the political leaders as well, sir. I would want to take all of that into consideration, sir. However, sir, I would not want to act according to a particular political leaning or any undue pressure. Rather, my activities or my actions should be on the basis of what I feel is right and what is for the benefit of the people. That is what my primary mandate would be, sir.
Sahars. Is it Sahars or Sahars H is there at the end? Sahars.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there's an H. I mean, there's supposed to be an H at the end. However, ma'am, for neurological reasons, that H was dropped. However, my pronunciation is the same as Sahars.
Sahars, okay. Are you aware of the current repo rate, Sahars?
Ma'am, ma'am, I'm not sure what the current repo rate is. I do know that the repo rate was recently increased by 25 basis points. It should be somewhere around 6.5%, ma'am, but I'm not really sure.
Okay, it has gone to 6.25. So on one side, we are seeing that the repo rate has been increased by the Monetary Policy Committee. On the other side, we see that the government is pushing for capex, capital expenditure. Don't you think there is some clear contrast here between monetary policy and fiscal policy? Think there is some clear contrast here between monetary policy and fiscal policy?
Ma'am, it does seem to be a contrast, ma'am. However, ma'am, there's this idea of counter-cyclical fiscal policy, where in times where the business growth or the economy is not really bullish, at that time the government should bring about a lot of expenditure in the economy. So that is one of the reasons why the government is investing a lot in capex. Secondly, ma'am, the government is focusing on through capex, the government is focusing on long-term returns. So that is one thing. However, ma'am, the idea behind the RBI's increase in the repo rate has mainly been to control short-term inflation, and that is why there might be a contrast between the idea or the actions of the RBI and the actions of the government.
So what do you think the current inflation is being backed by? The supply side or the demand side?
Ma'am, the current inflation has, to a large extent, it is cost push inflation or due to supply issues that has been mostly driven by.
Okay. So in economic concept, what do you think is transfer payment?
Ma'am, transfer payments are payments that are given by the government to different stakeholders, to the people, or different stakeholders, ma'am, without any sort of activity or any sort of benefits in return.
Do you think pensions are part of transfer payment?
Ma'am, pensions are part of transfer payments, ma'am.
So in that respect, is transfer payment part of GDP calculation?
Ma'am, just a minute, ma'am. Ma'am, I might be mistaken, ma'am, but I still believe that transfer payments are part of the GDP calculation.
You should just check about this concept. Okay? So your optional is political science. and international relation, right? So what is this difference between liberalism and neoliberalism?
Ma'am, neoliberalism focuses on, ma'am, just a minute, ma'am. Ma'am, the idea of neoliberalism is where uh, was mostly talks of how the market is supreme and everything is there is no sort of any government involvement or any involvement of any agency which rules the market. Rather, it focuses entirely on the market, and the market is given free will and market is given free hand to run the economy or run the system as it turns out to be. However, ma'am, in terms of in liberalism, the focus is on the individual, where the individual's freedoms is something that is looked at. That is the major difference between liberalism and neoliberalism.
Are you currently following any kind of international relations articles?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I am looking at the international news, international relations related news that are coming in the newspapers on a daily basis.
Are you aware of this term LOC and LAC?
Yes, ma'am. LOC stands for the line of control and LAC stands for the line of actual control. These are the borders that India shares with Pakistan and China respectively.
Okay, Sahars, so you had science in your standard 11 and 12, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
after that you also had graduation in some science stream.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? Can you just explain me how a plane works, like airplane, how it works? What sort of laws of physics or principle works behind that?
Ma'am, regarding the working of an airplane, there's something called the Bernoulli's theorem, where it is said that the faster the velocity of an object is, the lower the weight it requires is, and that is why airplanes, because they have a very high speed, they pick up a huge speed on the runway, and that is how they are able to take off, and then because of that high speed, they are able to fly or glide on the air, or fly on the air, and that air is something that enables them, that basically enables them to fly.
Fine. So I see that you have some background with Ramakrishna Mission
Yes, ma'am.
School, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it just for the namesake or was there any element of spirituality while you were in school?
Ma'am, I stayed at Ramakrishna Mission for 6 years, and we had morning prayers, evening prayers, along with meditation every single day. At the same time, ma'am, there were certain courses over when I was in class 5, 6, and 7. Regarding there was this course called Indian Culture, where we were taught different basic tenets of what the Ramakrishna Mission brotherhood is all about, ma'am.
Okay, Sir, speaking about Indian culture, we currently seeing a lot of cases of fake spiritual gurus or fake babas. Why do you think people are actually following the fake babas and gurus nowadays?
Ma'am, because religion plays a very important role in India, in the and in the daily life of people of India. And ma'am, the idea that somebody or some individual can connect people, those people to uh, uh, gaining moksha or salvation, or certain tenets, certain do's and don'ts that those people might adhere to and bring them closer to God, is something that makes the people gullible or susceptible to the influence of such babas. And those babas sadly take the benefit of that.
So you think spirituality has taken a back seat in today's time?
Ma'am, I feel that there are individuals or there are organizations that are misusing spirituality, ma'am, and that is why it is different. It is difficult for individuals to find true spirituality or true guides in this dream for spirituality, ma'am. However, ma'am, I don't think that spirituality has taken a back seat. Rather, ma'am, with the greater amount of knowledge or awareness regarding different religions, different modes of practice of spiritual thought, ma'am, I feel that it is rather on the rise rather than on a decline, ma'am.
Okay. So currently you actually work in Ola also, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you tell me currently what is the status of Ola as a company? Is it a startup? What is the current status? And then what is a startup?
Ma'am, Ola, I'm not sure, ma'am, how if I would categorize Ola as a startup currently, ma'am, because it has diversified a lot and has given rise to many subsidiaries as well, and has become one of the greatest, one of a huge employers in India as well, and creating a lot of direct and indirect employment. So I'm not sure if I would categorize Ola still as a startup.
So what are the criteria to be categorized as startup? Is diversification a part of it?
Ma'am, I think one of the criteria, I'm not sure, ma'am, what are the exact parameters that would classify a company as a startup.
Okay. So tell me, Saharsh, what is this exact concept of hybrid electric vehicles? We are hearing electric vehicles. Now, what is this new concept of hybrid electric vehicles?
Ma'am, hybrid electric vehicles are those vehicles which are able to work on electricity as using the battery as a source of power. At the same time, ma'am, there are uh, those vehicles can also be repurposed to work using normal fuels such as petrol or diesel, and that is why they are known as hybrid electric vehicles.
So they are using the petrol for what purpose?
Ma'am, they can use they can operate on petrol in case they want to, or they are finding any reason for using petrol, or they can operate using electricity.
Okay. So tell me, taking from here some technology part and your international relation, how in today's context technology is related with international relations?
Ma'am, with the rise in international relation or rise in globalization, ma'am, there's a lot of sharing of technology. And recently, there has been an agreement called the ICET, which has been signed between the US and India regarding similar sharing of technology. There has been the AUKUS initiative between US, UK, and Australia regarding share of nuclear submarine technology. And so, ma'am, sharing of technology is one of the reasons why it is very valid or very relevant to international relations. Secondly, ma'am, because of the rise of technology, ma'am, there are also groups that are formed, such as, ma'am, the idea of the nuclear states or the non-nuclear states in terms of the non-proliferation treaty. And that is why that leads to creation of allies or enemies at the same time, ma'am. So technology does play a very vital role in international relationship in that respect.
Okay. Can you tell me who is the Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh currently?
Ma'am, I cannot recall his name at the moment, ma'am. I had read about it, but I cannot recall his name.
And it is your preference state, right?
Yes,
okay, okay. So you have also done your studying from IIM Calcutta.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's the current director of IIM Calcutta, sir?
Ma'am, the current director of IIM Calcutta is Kumar.
So tell me some few learnings that you want to take from IIM Calcutta, some of the elite B schools in India. Take some of the lessons from here that you can actually put it into civil service. Give us some 3 or 4 learnings that you can exactly put in civil service.
Ma'am, as part of IIM Calcutta, I was involved in different courses, ma'am, such as organizational behavior, where, ma'am, I got to know about the different metrics or the different ways that teamwork is studied, or teamwork is an issue in different companies hierarchy or different companies as well. And that's why, ma'am, I feel that IIM Calcutta, that those classes of or those lessons of organizational behavior help me understand how, as a civil servant, I would want to consider my team as well as the direct or indirect people whom my work impacts as part of my team, and I would want to make my work a more consultative work. If I am working as an administrator of a district, I would want to involve all the relevant stakeholders in consultations regarding any major decisions. So that is one thing. Secondly, ma'am, I feel that IIM Calcutta's different courses, such as there was a course Business Dynamics, Strategy Management. So, ma'am, all of these courses, I feel that they taught me an idea of articulation, or taught me an idea of thinking itself, where I could solve different problems and look at the different aspects, or look at a problem from different angles, using simple ideas such as making different graphs or different diagrams or different charts. So I feel that this is something I could bring about in the civil services as well, because we solve different kinds of challenges on a daily level, ma'am. Thirdly, ma'am, as part of IIM Calcutta, ma'am, I got to work with different people from various backgrounds, from engineering, non-engineering backgrounds as well, and I got introduced to a wide set of people, and I feel that this enabled me to work better in a team in a more cohesive manner and be more mindful of the strengths and weaknesses of the individual members, ma'am.
Okay, quite a long answer, Saharsh. Have you prepared this?
No, ma'am, I had not.
Okay. So currently we are seeing some issue going on in Pakistan and also some issue going on in Sri Lanka also. So do you think these two issues and problems are almost similar in nature?
Ma'am,
Or there is some difference between the problems?
Ma'am, I would say that they are similar to the extent that these are economic issues where both countries are facing a balance of payments crisis. However, ma'am, there are differences in the two issues where Pakistan has been granted a bailout package already by the IMF. However, that package was stopped in the middle because Pakistan failed to bring about certain changes in the economy, in the structure of the economy, which had been mandated by the IMF, and that is why the package was stopped in the middle. Secondly, ma'am, in case of Sri Lanka, ma'am, the IMF has not rolled out any such package earlier. It is the country Sri Lanka is asking for an entirely new package and a bailout package, and the country is looking out to its bilateral investors and looking for some sort of assurance to the IMF where it can ask for a further bailout package.
I'm asking some particular reasons and causes which has led to this current picture. Do you think is it same for Pakistan and Sri Lanka?
Ma'am, those reasons can definitely be found in the type of governance that has been involved in both countries, and to that extent they are similar. Where the government in Pakistan has been mostly dependent a lot on the kind of grants it has received from different countries such as the US over the period of so many years, and it has failed to set up a robust or a resilient economy. In case of Sri Lanka as well, ma'am, the downfall has happened mostly due to different reasons, such as firstly the bombing that happened in Sri Lanka. Those led to a downfall of the tourism sector, and secondly, ma'am, because of different government decisions such as overnight stopping of chemical fertilizers in the country, and those are some of the issues which has led to this. So the answer to both of the crises can be found in the governance issues or the governance structures in the country. However, those exact issues vary.
So you think India should help Pakistan now?
Ma'am, India should definitely look at this as something, as an opportunity, as a kind of an opportunity where it can, if it tries to support Pakistan, it can deepen relations with its neighbor, and that would definitely be beneficial for both sides and could even work towards limiting the terrorist activities on India's border. Secondly, ma'am, it can try and reduce China's influence in Pakistan, which would definitely work out in India's favor. At the same time, ma'am, India must be mindful of how so many times in history Pakistan has declined India's help, or in spite of India's help, provided safe haven to terrorists, and that is why India should definitely proceed with caution in this case.
Okay. Saharsh, I can see that you have not taken Bengal as your West Bengal as your preference. I do understand that there could be certain reasons. So there's one statement coming in my mind: what Bengal thinks today, India thinks tomorrow. Are you aware of this statement? Do you know who said this?
I'm not sure, ma'am. This is the first time I'm hearing of it.
Okay, can you just elaborate on the statement? What do you think of this statement?
Ma'am, if I can just look at the statement and try to take a guess, what it could mean, ma'am, is something that that Bengal is intellectually advanced in the sense where what Bengal plans today, the rest of India becomes empowered to think about tomorrow. Where Bengal has a huge set of talent, and Bengal has the capability to deliver as well, and it can bring about that thought process today. However, India thinks about it tomorrow, and despite all of that, Bengal loses out on the implementation part, and even without those talent, Bengal fails to upscale or develop itself industrially, while the rest of India, when it thinks about it tomorrow, it does.
You just mentioned about some intellectual past of the Bengal, which is somehow reflected today also.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So currently we are also finding data like the NFHS data saying that the child marriage is the pressure is too much on Bengal today, because 41%, close to 41%, we see that the girls in the age maybe 25 or something, so they were married before 18 years. So before they were adult, they were married.
Yes, ma'am.
And this percent is as high as 40%. So this glorious past of Bengal, the Bengal called the intellectual capital or intellectual place, has lost that charm. So how in current context we can say that Bengal is still that advanced state which can guide the nation?
Ma'am, I feel that such events or such metrics do raise questions regarding whether Bengal can still be called as the intellectual capital of India or not, or an intellectual center of India or not. However, ma'am, I do feel that in the current scenario, ma'am, I do feel that there is a lot of sorry, ma'am. I feel that there's a lot of impetus in Bengal given on education of children, and we can see that Bengal has one of the highest gross enrollment ratios in the country, and Bengal also has one of the lowest total fertility rates in the country as well. And that is why we see that in those metrics, Bengal is definitely outperforming the other states. Regarding in terms of child marriage, ma'am, I feel that this is mostly an issue that is limited to the outskirts or the more rural areas of West Bengal, and there's definitely a lack of seepage of Bengal's cultural intellectual ability into the rural areas, and that is something that should be looked at. Regarding whether Bengal can still be called the intellectual capital or intellectual center of India or not, ma'am, I feel that the Bengalis have not lost their taste or their love for education or their love for intellectual ability, and I feel that there is a lot of brain drain that is happening out of Bengal that could be responsible for how it's not being coming out to be as an intellectual center at present.
Any solution that you have for the current government there?
Ma'am, the current government could definitely work at investing in industrial growth, because that would stop a lot of that brain drain. Secondly, ma'am, the current government could work on the different cultural aspects of West Bengal, highlighting the different cultural aspects of West Bengal, providing impetus to different encouragement or patronage to different artists, artisans, and that could also enable Bengal back to being an intellectual hub or intellectual center.
Another issue we see in Bengal is that related to some fund. Do you think that there's some literally serious fund shortage for Bengal? Allocation has been less from center to the state.
Ma'am, I feel that the allocation to Bengal has been similar to what is being done to the other states as per the 15th Finance Commission or the Finance Commission that has happened before, and it is a very transparent mechanism of allocation. Any differences that may arise can only arise due to the role of discretionary grants, because statutory grants are also something that are given according to a particular formula. So, ma'am, discretionary grants are could be something that could lead to a shortage of funds. However, I don't think that the situation is that extreme. Rather, ma'am, it is the misappropriation or misallocation of funds that is a major issue in West Bengal instead of shortage of funds, ma'am.
Okay, sir. So my last question to you is, what do you think is courage?
Ma'am, courage to me, ma'am, is simply being able to stand up or follow through one's beliefs, and not being deterred by something that the society says or society thinks about it. Rather, being steadfast in one's belief and being having a sort of an integrity between one's beliefs and one's actions is something that I would believe is called courage.
Can you support that with one example from your life where you have been courageous?
Ma'am, I can think of an example, ma'am, where one of a big decision of my life was when I started preparing for the civil services. Because, ma'am, although it had been one of my major dreams in life, ma'am, however, ma'am, there was this entire idea of the allure of having allure of being able to work in the private sector, in the corporate sector, and having a stable life, after having been through the challenges of IITs and IIMs of the world, ma'am, I decided to pursue my dream of civil services, and that was not well appreciated with many of my friends, and I also had certain moments where I was thinking whether I should go ahead with this or not. But then, ma'am, at the end of the day, I decided to pursue my dream of civil services, and I feel that that was one of the most courageous things I've done in life, ma'am.
So, taking from there, if I give you a choice of choosing between courage and patience, which one you choose?
Sir, can I take a moment, please? Sir, if I have to choose between courage and patience, ideally I would want to have bits of both. However, if I have to choose, ma'am, sir, I would want to choose patience, because, ma'am, because, sir, I think that having courage without being patient is something foolhardy and would propel me to rush into any sort of thing that any sort of dangers head first. However, sir, I feel that having patience, however, if I'm lacking in courage, that patience would enable me to develop the courage or enable
I
me.
have understood your answer. Tell me the formula for the Finance Commission which they are following currently.
Sir, I know the parameters or the factors that they consider in calculation of the formula, sir, but the exact formula is something.
What are the parameters?
So the parameters are income distance, population, area, demography, fiscal efforts, and tax prudence, sir.
Don't you think there should be something for environment also?
Sir, sorry, sir, fiscal prudence and tax efforts. Sir, regarding your other question regarding the environment, sir, I feel that the idea of, sir, it is not fiscal prudence, rather I think, sir, it is forest and ecology, sir. I'm really sorry for that, sir.
Okay. You need to be a little patient in answering also, right? Have you heard of the terms security spiral?
Security spiral, sir?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Can you throw some light on some a term I have recently read about biomechatronics?
Biomechatronics.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm not sure of the term, sir, but I can take a guess, sir. Where Megatron is a huge piece of machinery, and Biomegatron would be a huge piece of machinery that is enabled using certain aspects of biotechnology.
Okay. Last question. If I give you 10,000 rupees, how would you like to spend it in a day?
So, if I have 10,000 rupees, I would want to see if I can get something out of something for my near and dear ones out of that money, sir. I could.
You need to spend it for yourself.
So I could, if I have to spend it on myself, sir, I would want to see if I can catch a movie or something, something that has been playing. Or, sir, I would definitely want to use that money to plan out a trip for myself.
Thank you. We'll call you again for after 5 minutes, huh?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.